Senior Labour politician questions Elon Musk's reluctance to appear before MPs in Parliament. We're going to read into this more from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline that senior Labour politicians questions Elon Musk's reluctance to appear before MPs in Parliament. The chair of Parliament's Technology Committee has invited Elon Musk in December to give evidence before MPs. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So, politicians... MPs basically have asked Elon Musk to come forward and basically sit down to the committee hearing to our committee hearing and literally just give his thoughts. Why instead of tweeting about it, why not come and talk directly to the politicians and express his views that way? Do it the professional way, do it the ordinary way, the way that things are done, because many people do that, but. As of right now, he's not. As of right now, in the time of this recording, he's reluctant to do so. Now, Elon Musk, obviously, I'm sure many people have said a lot of things about him. I think he is a threat to democracy because of his language and the power that he wields. I do think he's a danger. I think he's a danger to Britain at the moment, and he is out of control, and there is no accountability for some of the language that he has been using. But you'll hear some of the language that he's been using in this article as well, and I may not actually say it just in terms of just for the benefit of monetization, but the things about certain recent events, obviously, and calling certain politicians extremely inappropriate things as well, like with whatever, like Elon Musk has made a massive success of himself. He's gambled on things, and he happens to be in the right place at the right time. He's taken opportunities as well. What he's done to the social media platform X has not been to Twitter, now X. It's not been in the interest, in my opinion, of not in the best interest of freedom of speech or democracy in any way, shape, or form. But him being loud-mouthing about Britain has not helped him. Has not helped his viewpoint. I saw not too long ago quite a few different polls have suggested that the British public want Elon Musk to be quiet and stop talking about them when they think that Elon Musk doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's not a very good thing, especially if you're trying to woo the British public. You may get people over in America jumping on your bandwagon, but you're not going to help yourself if you want to have any kind of influence in Britain by just screaming and shouting at the current Labour government. But I do think that if he actually came to the committee here, it would make a much better imagery of himself if he was to come and be open and honest about his views to a committee hearing, instead of hiding behind a keyboard or his mobile device, which is what everyone does on social media, or not even behind a camera as well. So, a senior Labour MP has questioned Elon Musk's apparent reluctance to appear before MPs in Parliament despite the billionaire's barrage of interventions on UK politics using his social media platform site X. So, the House of Commons Technology Committee invited the world's richest man in December to give evidence in Parliament as part of its inquiry into the role of social media and misinformation in fueling the summer riots that erupted in the wake of the Southport attacks. Although Mr. Musk, who is set to resume a key role in Donald Trump's incoming US administration, is reportedly yet to officially reply to the invitation. He initially responded on X by claiming that MPs would be summoned to the US to explain their censorship and threats to American citizens. So, he is demanding that MPs would go to the US to explain censorship and threats to American citizens from the UK's point of view, but he's not willing to come over on our side. Okay, just saying. Noting that the committee would be quite open to travelling to talk to him, so long as Mr. Musk is willing to pay for their flights. The cross-party group's chair, Chai Onwar, questioned his apparent reluctance to give evidence to MPs in Westminster. He has no qualms about using these platforms to say all kinds of things about the British government and British society, and yet he seems reluctant to actually come and talk to us where he can have his views explained, Ms. Onwar had told the Sunday Mirror. There we go. Here's the thing. He can, if he generally cares, generally has concerns and well-being about the British public, why doesn't he come to a committee hearing and speak from the heart there. Why do it behind your phone there? Having suggested that the king should dissolve parliament, just months after the general election, the billionaires launched a series of extraordinary attacks on Sir Keir Starmer and his ministers while demanding the release of jailed far-right activist Tommy Robinson. Mr. Musk's recent onslaught of posts have frequently contained conspiratorial and baseless allegations of complicity into the Grooming Gang scandal, prompting Sir Keir to use a free speech on Monday to condemn the billionaire's lies and misinformation. Mrs. Onwar said she had been shocked by the Tesla owner's aggressive attacks on British politicians, adding, "I'm hoping that Elon Musk will bring himself to our committee so that we can understand what his approach is to freedom of speech and misinformation and harms." Mr. Musk's campaign against the UK comes as the flagship online safety bill set to come into force, which will enable regulator Ofcom to fine social media companies up to 10% of their revenue for failing to comply with stricter new rules. However, officials hoping to bolster safety on social media platforms appear to be facing an uphill battle in the months and years ahead. In addition to Mr. Musk having relaxed rules around harmful content after purchasing Twitter and renaming it X, Meta's chief executive Mark Zuckerberg also announced this week his platform, such as Facebook, would replace fact checkers with a community notes system similar that now uses on X. And this is the thing, like now, the fact checking, obviously, when it comes to political discussions on Meta. And I had quite a discussion about this on a video on Patreon, which you can check out on the Patreon. Patreon there, it's a free. You don't have to pay for that one for some free stories, but one of the free ones is this one on Zuckerberg replacing the fact checkers. But I don't agree with it, and I think it's dangerous. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out that video. And in a stark change of tone, Mr. Zuckerberg accuses Europe of institutionalizing censorship. No, it's protecting people from misinformation and disinformation. While his new head of global affairs, Joel Captain, told Fox News that Meta was going to work with President Trump to push back on that kind of thing around the world. This is here's the thing, not everyone uses social media, not everyone is on Twitter, not everyone is on Facebook or X or whatever social media platforms are. Some people only use YouTube, for example. Not everyone is going to be on these platforms. But they are obviously having an effect on the British public, on the minds of the British public and where they should be casting their votes and whatnot. What's even more frustrating is when they use it for their own means rather than actually being open and honest about it. I mean, these social media platforms, these are private companies. And I've said this before about social media companies. The number one priority is to make revenue, make money, and basically have more power. And the likes of Meta, the likes of Twitter, they have a huge amount of influence on the public. They really do. It can influence people, and it can influence elections as well. Where we've seen how much Elon Musk's influence on Twitter during the US presidential elections had an impact there, which has prompted questions and talks and discussions about whether Meta or X should be banned from the UK. There's actually been general discussions about this now. And I think, when it comes to if disinformation and hatred is being spewed on these platforms by very powerful figures, by people who think they can say whatever they want without any consequences, then it does lead down to this path of, then maybe we should consider banning them because they are a threat to our so-called democracy. And I think that's where more needs to be discussed here. But what do you guys honestly think? What do you guys make about Elon Musk had an opportunity to appear before MPs in Parliament? It looks like he's not going to do so based on this. But I don't think he would. He would rather have those discussions on Twitter on X anyway. But what do you guys honestly think about that? Do you think that perhaps maybe that is there actually any serious talk about these companies being banned, or is it just lots of talk because of how intertwined it is to the British public? Honestly, let me know your thoughts about all this and more down in the comment section below. Let me know your feedback, guys. If you found this video informative, please hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And share this across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. If you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.